What's up, everybody? Are we ready to learn about YouTube? I know I'm ready to teach it to you. It's not just me. I got a good friend on who's going to talk with me in just a second, but welcome in. And if you're watching live, I see people already doing it. Mention where in the world you're watching from right now. Thank you so much to Julie from North Carolina, another Julie from San Francisco, White Wolf Media. We got Brian, Pamela, Jamie's, Adrilla. We got another new leaf. Welcome in, everybody. We also have some team members from SPI on our team in the chat to help you out as well. We'll have some time for questions at the end, so save those until then. But I want to bring in our CEO, Caleb Wojcik. What's up, Caleb? How are you, man?
Hey Pat, you just got done with the road trip, so you tired of being in a car?
Oh, man. I was on the road for about 12 hours coming from Monterey, which was beautiful. Never been there before with the family during our what we call ski week here in San Diego, week off for the kids. But man, my back was hurting. So I need to go get a massage or something. How are you and the family doing? Everybody good over there?
Pretty good, yeah. We drove to Arizona and back last weekend, so it was only like 6 or 7 hours each way, but still, there's nothing to see on that drive for
Yeah,
the
and
most part. It's just
you got
desert.
three
So
little ones. I have two
yeah,
almost teenagers now. So
yeah.
anyway, welcome in everybody. We're going to talk about YouTube today. A little bit of a little history lesson for those of us who are here. Caleb, why don't you talk about your channel really quick? Your involvement with video and YouTube. Obviously, your channel is called Make It Better Videos, so obviously you're all in the right spot. But tell us about it real quick.
Yeah, so for about 10 years before I started working here at SPI, I did video production full time. So doing a lot of client work. Pat, obviously you were a client. We did a lot of videos together for your YouTube channel, for all your courses and things like that. But my specialty was cameras, lighting, audio, video, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I taught and have taught on my channel. And, it led to getting new clients. It led to getting free gear from companies. It led to a lot of different opportunities. And more than anything, it just kind of bolstered that I knew what I was talking about in the fact that then I could sell courses about it, or people join my email list, or people just hire me
Mhm.
to make videos for them.
We got some familiar faces in the house as well. Gonzo Luria from Live Streaming Pros is here. That is amazing. Y'all got to follow them on YouTube. Jeff the Ref is here. Great. This is us at a live event that Caleb was hosting and helping with my buddy Chris Ducker there. Two bald people and a bald chin on my end, which was interesting. We've also worked together on the Switch Pod. If you don't know what the Switch Pod is, it's that little thing we're holding there, and it's a nice little handy tripod that kind of flips out really quickly. So we've been business partners for a very long time now. Caleb is CEO of SPI. I'm a creator, and we're doing some video stuff. And video's been huge for me. I was on YouTube back in 2009 and started out very slowly. Caleb's been there for a lot of that journey, and it wasn't until 2017 that things really finally started to take off. Currently, we're at 468,000 subscribers. A lot of mistakes made. We're going to pass forward a lot of those mistakes to you, so you don't make the same ones. More recently, and I know many people in the chat know this, but I started another channel in 2001 called Deep Pocket Monster. It's a Pokemon related channel that my kids inspired me to start, and they kind of outgrew Pokemon, and I definitely grew more into it as an old man. But it's been so much fun, and currently the channel is sitting at 1.4 million subscribers and a quarter million views, which is crazy. Now, even more recently, back in 2004. This is less than a year ago. I started a separate channel for just shorts, and that channel has 1.2 million subscribers. And I recently just got my gold play button for the shorts channel, which is pretty cool. So all this to say, it's always important that when you're teaching online, you share a little bit about yourself. It's okay to talk about your credibility because you want people to know that they're in the right spot, and that's exactly why we're talking about this. But we also want to know and bring this back down to earth. And I want to share with you my very first video that I ever published on YouTube. Hopefully, this sets into perspective the idea that, okay, first of all, you don't have to be perfect. You got to be, as I like to say, cringe before they binge, or disaster before you become the master, however you want to frame it. But let's play this first video for you so that you can kind of get an idea of exactly how it all went down.
Hey everybody, this is Pat Flynn from the Smart Passive Income blog at smartpassiveincome.com, and I'm trying something out a little new today. This is actually my first video that I'll be putting on YouTube and on my blog, and I'm using some really cool tools that allow me to do some really cool things. Which
I just can't. That's actually the definition of cringe, and
Do you want me
so
to go
is.
with my top three? The top three cringe on my end. One, you're whispering. It sounds like you're being held hostage, like someone might be listening, like
I
you're
felt
you're
like that
talking very
actually.
quietly. Yeah. Two is the amount of toolbars you have going in Safari here.
Yeah, some people
Like
called that
the
out
top
already.
half of the screen. Yeah. Yeah. And then the like faded photo of you. It's kind of like a in memoriam kind
What?
of
Like I
black and
died.
white. Yeah, yeah.
That is so true,
Like
actually.
your ghost, like the ghost photo of you there going like this. Yeah.
But I didn't even want to put myself on camera. I was too afraid to like be on camera like I am now, and so I just was like screen recording, and that's a great sort of first step. Doing computer screen recordings or screen recording what's on your app, or a lot of people now do like their hands while holding something or reviewing
Yeah.
something, and that's a great
Faceless.
first step, right? It's a great first step, but the only way to get better at this is to hit publish and go. And since then, millions and millions of views, almost a billion views across all the videos I've created since the dawn of time. I also mentioned the new channel recently, Short Pocket Monster. That was 2024, not 2004, just to clarify. But here's what we're going to talk about in today's presentation. And I want to make sure you know what's coming. So we're going to talk about your channel. Again, whether you're starting out from scratch, or we're going to show you kind of how we would approach a new channel from scratch, or you might have one already. These are good basics to help you with understanding, like, foundationally what you should have and things that you should worry about and focus on. Then we're going to talk about your videos. We have a strategy we like to call the click and stick strategy, or approach to your videos to give yourself the best chance to get the most views, because that's what we want. Um, we want to create great videos, but we also want them to be seen. And then we will be talking about monetization as well. And this is just a little bit of a taste of what you get inside of our course, YouTube from Scratch, which, if you are an SPI member in our community, first of all, shout that out in the chat. I'll say hello to some of you. You have access to that course already. We have an accelerator coming up, but this thing has helped many people get their channel started, get thousands of subscribers. Some people go full time with it, which is really cool, and get a lot more video views, even if you've started a channel already. So before we get into the meat of the content here, Caleb, any sort of preamble for everybody, just kind of to get their mindset right with the content that we're about to approach? YouTube is it's huge. There's a lot of things you can learn, and we've chosen specifically to not teach you everything. Can you tell us why that's the case?
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get overwhelmed, especially when you're starting something from 0
Mhm.
to see all these things that people are doing, and you're like, "Oh, I need to do all of those things." It's like, "No, let's just focus on getting your channel up, building your storefront, getting the branding right." That's a lot of the stuff we talk about in the course, to just get everything set up, and then you go into like, "Okay, now let's research what everyone else is doing. Let's research what's working for other people, and let's pick one thing to try for a bit and see if it works." It's just really easy to get overwhelmed, so it's
Yeah, I
kinda
mean,
where we
I think
start.
that's just a theme just in general today, with everybody consuming everything, and there's just so much information out there. Our course and what we teach here and what you'll hear today is just like what you need to know to get started to get to 1,000 subscribers. That is our goal for you, to get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you're there already, to just double that, right? And so much can happen. You don't need millions of subscribers. And there's also a lot of other things that you don't need, including fancy camera equipment. We're going to talk about some myths first before we get into the strategy, because if you don't control what's going on up here in the stories you're telling yourself about why this isn't going to work for you, or what you might need, like the best cameras and the best microphones and everything like that, then it's not going to work for you. But this is definitely a myth. You don't need super fancy camera equipment, because better stories are better than better camera equipment. And this is, I mean, I think you saw this firsthand, Caleb, when we got together. You saw me spend quite a bit of money on stuff that I definitely didn't need. And as a camera reviewer yourself, like, can you speak to just this really quickly? This need to feel like you need the best equipment.
Yeah, there's this, like, quality to cost curve that you reach to, where it's like you can spend so much on gear and equipment and everything like else, but you reach a point of, okay, it looks good enough, sounds good enough, that, someone's not, like, so annoyed that it's awful,
Hmm.
and that that amount has shrunk so much in the past 5, 10 years since we've been doing stuff, that phones are good enough with a tiny little microphone, and you're used to seeing things filmed on phones all the time on social media or on YouTube or wherever else, and you can get by with just built-in stuff now, built-in webcams, built-in phone microphones. Like, stuff's so good now compared to what we started with, that that barrier isn't even there anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of you who have YouTube channels know this already. You can get the stories out without the best camera equipment. And I want to tell you about Brady Brandwood. I don't know if you've ever seen this channel before, people watching live or the replay right now, but this is a channel that for years had been live, just pushing out videos about random things, aquariums, motorcycles, Native American history, etc. And it was at some point that something crazy happened. In late 2021, this person told a story that had the whole world watching. And this was about a lobster named Leon. And look at the title there, Keeping a Grocery Store Lobster as a Pet. Who here has actually come across this video and especially this lobster? You'll also notice back there, he's filming with an iPhone. This thing has 90 million views. In fact, it probably has way more than this now. And that's Leon, by the way, Leon the lobster. Leon has his own merch line. He has millions of fans around the world now because why? Because that's an interesting story. Can you buy a grocery store lobster and raise it as a pet? And people have fallen in love with Leon and his journey. It's been really amazing. So all that to say, better stories are better than better camera equipment. You could have the best camera equipment in the world, and if you're not telling a good story, if you're not creating compelling content, then you're just kind of making your not great content look nice, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And I think there's a feel too of now where people can just tell with something's like overly polished or overly fake.
yeah,
You know,
that's
like
true.
talking to like my video production friends around the country recently, it's like they're getting hired for multi-thousand-dollar shoots to film it on a phone, but they have professional models and professional lighting and like a location and all this stuff, but they're using a phone.
That's
Because
wild.
they don't want it to look too polished anymore.
Right, right. That's so crazy. And that's a good point. The other thing that we want to talk about is the myth of you need huge, elaborate spectacle to get views. You need to spend millions of dollars and build these Squid Game type sets in order to make it happen. Of course, we've been a little conditioned because of people like Mr. Beast and Ryan Trahand or the How Ridiculous guys. Like they have these huge warehouses where they can do these cool things. And yes, they are spectacular to look at. They're fantastical. However, they're also unrealistic. And if you're creating content, especially if you're educating people with your content, too big is almost like too unrealistic. Again, to Caleb's point about using a phone, it just real is what matters today. Things being more realistic, and there's always room for big spectacle. And his Mr. Beast's Amazon deal with the Beast games, like that stuff is just going to exist. But for most of us regular people, getting into the story is going to again help you a little bit better, and you don't need to spend a ton of money in order to make it happen or build these huge sets. In fact, things that are happening in your everyday life could become interesting because they're more relatable, because people can feel the emotion behind it, right? Going back to Brady Brandwood, we can actually look at a lot of his library, and you'll see a lot of things that he had back in the day, like this rat rocket build and oxygen for transporting fish, time portal at Bull Sluice. Where did she go? This is just such random stuff. But then look at all these videos. As soon as he published the Leon the Lobster series, I mean, all the Leon the Lobster videos popped off because what YouTube does is they know the behavior of your viewers. And they know that people who watch the first one would likely want to watch the next one and watch the next one and watch the next one. This is where buckets of videos in your content can play a big role, right? Seeing in your analytics which videos are doing well and then just doing more of that. And you can literally see it here. Leon the Lobster taking off. Now, there's a lot of other channels where it's not really about the spectacle of it, but rather the stories being told. I love Michelle Carr's channel. She tells what it's like to actually be somebody who works at 911 dispatch or who is a Navy SEAL or who tries the FBI Academy. She puts herself in those situations, and then we want to see the outcome of that. Charlie Marie, she's in a very, very specific niche. She's a designer, and she tells and teaches other designers how to get hired, how to do do billing and all this other stuff that helps designers around the world. And she is wonderful, and she has 200,000 subscribers there. I follow a lot of fishing channels, and even in the fishing space, it's not just like, oh, here's a fishing channel. There's many different niches within the fishing space. For example, Tactical Bassin. You'll see just based on the thumbnails, they're all about the different lure. Well, excuse me. They're all about the different lures and how to use a lot more sort of high-tech devices to find your fish, hence the little logo with the sort of target on the middle of that bass. Then there's Fish the Moment, which are literally about going in the middle of the lakes and finding fish that you wouldn't normally be able to find. Then there's Greg Blanchard, whose specialty is not just bass fishing, but not just bass fishing tournaments, which he shows his sort of POV from, but bass fishing tournaments on a kayak. He's got 115,000 subscribers. I mean, getting niche is really key. We're going to talk more about choosing your niche and what that's like. But I think most people, when we approach YouTube, are like, I'm going to try to create a channel that everybody's going to watch. And that's absolutely not what you want to do. You want to find a little pocket, a little piece of this world, and be the go-to resource for them. What's been your approach to with your clients, Caleb, and our students about like choosing a niche and almost feeling like you don't want to pigeonhole yourself. That's the first sort of response I hear. So I don't want to be known as like, the kayak bass fisherman guy. But why not? What's your response to people who are afraid of that?
It's like you'd rather be unknown? Is that you'd rather just
Yeah,
you'd rather not be known than be known for a specific thing. I think it's you see the big channels, you see the views they get, and when you get to a certain level, I mean, on social media, on YouTube specifically, you can kinda make a video about whatever and get hundreds of thousands of views and millions of views because you are that big, and
right.
so people see like, "Oh, I can just make videos like that," but if you go back to a lot of those early videos for those people, they were making very specific videos that took off, then they could get more broad. So it's like, I don't know what the equivalent is. It's like if you're chopping down a tree, you don't just like hit the axe at like all different parts. Like you pick one spot to get it to fall, and then it'll come down. You'll like find a way into the audience through a specific thing, and then it can kind of broaden.
Yes. Then you can make the firewood that brings you warmth and keeps you
Let's keep
alive.
the analogy going. Yep. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Then you can take the whole forest down. Yeah.
But we don't condone just like chopping trees down
Yeah.
randomly.
Deforestation is not cool. Don't do that, please. Yes.
Shout out to Kobe Collects and Pokey Any, both amazing people. Thank you so much for the support. Pokey Any's been great. He's in the Pokemon space, and his niche is he's creating videos about what it's like to run a store at his, I think, his house or something. But he's just very open and honest about that, and that's like almost a niche in a niche in a niche, and he's doing extremely well, and I love it. So thank you for the support, you guys. Um, Peter McKinnon is a creator that comes to mind who initially was creating, and you know this because you were in the photography space as well, like very specific tactical videos for photography. There was one video that kind of went wild where the thumbnail was him holding a knife to the lens, if any of you might remember that thumbnail. But it was all tactical, like here are the Lightroom things that you need, and here's how you create these. And now he can create videos about whatever, right? About like leather and anything really that he wants because he's earned that. But when you're starting out, you can't just kind of go general. You have to be specific. You're still going to need to play and experiment and try new things. But the idea being we need to find a home in this little pocket of YouTube to build our audience to then expand out of if we ever wanted to. Now, a big question that often comes to mind is how many subscribers do I need to succeed? The truth is, you don't need millions of subscribers. Not at all. In fact, this is an essay that was written by Kevin Kelly in 2006, I think. It's called 1,000 True Fans. That's really all you need to do some really amazing things for the business that you're creating. Justin Moore, who recently wrote a book called Sponsor Magnet, highly recommended. His videos don't get more than 1,000 views, but he's made nearly $500,000 because he knows exactly who's watching those videos, what they need, and they want to hire him. And that is just such an important lesson. The last myth is that it's too late to start on YouTube, and it's absolutely not. Absolutely not too late. Good friend of mine, Matt Wolf, created some videos about AI, and it blew up. This was within the past couple of years. He even reached out to me because we're good friends. He lives here in San Diego with me. I just reached out to him to congratulate him. He gained 90,000 subscribers in a single month when this thing started, which was crazy. And now today, he's got 714,000 subscribers, and it's just he's getting these deals, he's getting partnerships and sponsor deals. It's wild. So anyone can YouTube, just like how in Ratatouille anyone can cook, but there is a hard way to do it and a simple way to do it. And hopefully, we're just gonna kind of make sure you're awake here in the chat. Type in the number that you want to go. Which route would you rather go on? One, the long road, years of mistakes, frustration, or would you rather go down route number two? Shortcut, knowing what works, less frustration. Let me know in the chat. And we're going to start to get into some tactics now. So this is like a little reset here. And hopefully you're all still with us. We got 444 concurrent viewers. Nice round number. Nice. All the twos are coming in. Caleb, I think we got the right people here in the chat. If anybody types in number one, I have questions for you. But it looks like we got the right people in the room.
The
So
first person was 1, but everyone else has been 2. So I think the first person was maybe was trolling, but that's
even
okay.
better, retirement. Maybe he's just enjoying retirement so much that he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take
No,
the
I'll
long
take the
road
long road.
because I
Yeah.
need the good views. Pun intended. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. First thing that I would do when starting a YouTube channel is not start a YouTube channel. Huh? What do I mean by that? Well, the whole point is you want to think about this a little bit first, right? We don't want to rush into it And when I started my Pokemon YouTube channel back in 2021, it wasn't just like a random idea one day and then I started the channel the next day. In fact, it was some research, and this is the kind of research that we're going to talk about uh, today. We need to figure out who you're creating videos for. So, what did I do? I joined the community. I attended live streams. I joined conversations on Reddit. I became a moderator for different channels just to get to know who these people were. And I was a member of the audience myself, but it's important to surround yourself with other people so you get different perspective, different views, and get an understanding of who is here already and what are they doing and contributing to the space and what is missing and what could I potentially contribute to the space. And as I often say, the riches are in the niches. And I know it's pronounced niches, but that does not rhyme as well. So your channel could be about a lot of things, right? It could be about your interest, an expertise that you have, something that you're obsessed about that you want to go super deep into, your work that you do, your talent, your journey that you're on, right? Kind of take people along the ride with you, your passion, whatever you might be struggling through right now. Just like our friend Adam Baker at Man versus Debt, right? He was struggling with debt and he was documenting his way out of debt. And through that, he was able to build an audience of tens of thousands of people also getting out of debt too. And the interesting part about that, it was like when you think about it on the surface, it's like, hey, how is this person who is massively in debt teaching people how to get out of debt? That's like, that doesn't make sense because he's showing the journey. He's showing how this is happening and he was able to bring people along the ride. And plus, that's more relatable. It's like, hey, you're just like me, just a few steps ahead. And that is a very powerful position
Yeah.
for you here on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you were on a fitness journey and you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to get ripped or whatever, do you wanna take advice from someone that, like, already is super jacked and fit? Like, maybe because yeah, they know what they're talking about. Clearly, they got their nutrition down, their exercise routine, whatever, but, like, wouldn't it also be encouraging to watch the journey of someone? That's why all those weight loss competition shows, Biggest Loser, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Like, that was huge for a while, just to, like, have people watch and, like, see what they did and to, like, see that journey. So, if you can take people on a journey, take them on a transformation with you, like, people are gonna come along to see what happens.
Yeah, as Pidgey Boys say, people learn from experience. Yes, and when they see somebody just like them doing something, guess what? They want to do that too, and they might also want the same products that you're using. So when it comes to monetization and affiliate marketing, they're going to see you go through a journey and succeed, and they're going to want to use the same tools or get the same recommendations or use the same coaches or something like that. This was the Pat Flynn channel, and the niche was entrepreneurship. Too big. This was a mistake going too wide with the YouTube channel, and it took us a little bit of time to figure this out. But this is why the videos weren't performing and still sometimes don't perform because they're so wide. I didn't create videos about I created videos about too many topics within the world of entrepreneurship. For example, affiliate marketing, email marketing, public speaking, podcasting, video creation, how to make slides on Canva and Keynote, search engine optimization, and way more. And the problem was I had a lot of come and go viewers, right? Which isn't a bad thing. People are coming because they found it on search or they're looking for something. They get what they need and then they leave. There's no reason to subscribe. For example, I had a video, and Caleb knows this. We filmed it together, a podcasting tutorial, and it just performed so well. Millions of views back in 2012 when we started it. We've continued to update it. We're going to have the next one come out probably this week, actually. But people come for that and they subscribe. But then the next video is about something different, like how to create slides on Canva, which I love. I know how to do. I could teach that. But does that mean I should create a video about it? Not necessarily, because people who subscribed for my podcasting content now see a video about something that really wasn't what they were expecting. And so subscribers don't watch that, which then signals to YouTube, well, hey, your subscribers aren't really watching this, so we're not going to really push it out to your other subscribers for you. And we'll kind of just let it sit and see what happens, which is often the case when you mix up too many different things at once. It doesn't mean your channel is dead if you do it wrong. It just means that that video is probably not going to perform very well. And YouTube and the audience, you can use and flip the word audience and algorithm fairly often, actually. They're just kind of confused on what your channel is about. So yeah, we've had a lot of people subscribe and not watch another video after that. The wins come from when a person subscribes because they know what's coming next, right? When a person subscribes to Deep Pocket Monster, they know they're going to get some epic challenge that I may or may not win. And so they subscribe because they want more of the same kinds of content, and they know that that's what they're going to get. And it can take some time to get there, which is okay. But you have to remember this. People don't subscribe because of the video they just watched. That's a like or that's a heart. That's the reward for the video they liked, not a subscription. Although we as creators often treat it that way. Hey, if you like this video, please subscribe. No, people subscribe because of the videos they are hoping are going to come. Hoping they're going to come. Joey Moulton, thank you so much for the super chat. Much love for that. I appreciate that. So, when deciding what you're going to create videos about, think about it in this way. And when you create videos, remember, getting people to subscribe means that they are wanting more of that kind of content. Clear Value Tax, this was a YouTube channel that I found during the pandemic that was super helpful. I mean, it's tax related stuff. How exciting can it be? Well, this person created videos that were so useful for people during this time, during COVID, about our stimulus checks and what was going to happen with our money and all this kind of stuff. And he showed up daily to give us updates on what was happening. I felt like he was on my team. In fact, if you've ever watched this guy, you'll see that he gets pretty angry in his videos. He kind of exudes the same kind of energy that we as viewers have toward our government, toward these checks, toward the confusion and all these other things that are happening. So it was like very relatable. And I could expect the video the next day would be just as useful because he was just like me. So you have to be able to fill in this blank when you're creating a YouTube channel, or if you have one. My YouTube channel is different because blank. Different is better than better. That was a Sally Hogshead quote. But trying to figure out what makes yours different is going to help you when you create, when people talk about you. This is really important. It's not going to happen right away. So can we talk a little bit, Kayla, about a person's first month or two on YouTube when they're still in that kind of figuring things out stage? Mentally, how do we keep going with that despite maybe the views not being there, maybe us doubting ourselves? How do we get through that sort of initial moment of doubt?
Yeah, I think you need to focus on the output instead of the like perceived input of what other people
Yes.
are watching or getting views or comments or whatever. Like commit to the output. Like our friend Barrett Brooks, he started a podcast recently, and he's like, I'm committing to this for 5 years. Then I will assess whether this is worth it or not. Okay, 5 years, maybe that's a long time,
Yeah.
but
6 months maybe
pick a
is good.
period of time. Yeah,
Yeah.
pick a period of time and say, okay, I'm going to show up consistently for this amount of time. Then I will pivot, or then I will decide whether that is worth it or not. Because it's so easy to just do one thing and kind of give up.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of interviewing MKBHD, world's leading top tech reviewer, back when he was at 3 million subscribers. I think he's like at 19 or 20 now. And he said something really interesting when I interviewed him. He said that his first 100 videos were for less than 100 subscribers. He just wanted to create videos, and he didn't really care about the views when they were first starting out. But with all of those reps, he was getting better and better. He was getting more comfortable. He was learning editing tricks along the way to go faster, just because, like you said, he was worried about just sticking with the commitment to the output, which is the only thing you can really control. You can't always control how an audience or an algorithm will respond to it. And of course, you do want to pay attention and try to do things that make those things favorable. But what you can control is the output, and you keep going no matter what for a specific period of time. I say 6 months. That's what we teach inside of SPI for things like YouTube and podcasting. Give it some time to then assess whether or not it makes sense or not. That way, you just keep going no matter what, and you're committing to that. And you can be a winner even if it fails, because then you've given it a chance and you can move on, or maybe in most cases, it does do really well after that period of time. So I'm glad we're having this discussion, and that's really important. Another thing that I would do is follow channels in the niche that you're in and just watch those videos, absorb them, but do it consciously, learning what is working here, what is not, what are things that are getting the live audience excited, or what are the comments about. Really go in there and investigate. Read the comments, see what people like and dislike. This is free information that you can get that can help you when you are creating on your end. And you can use YouTube's engagement graph to see what parts of videos people like and rewatch the most. So going back to Leon's videos, this isn't possible for all videos, and I think it takes some time before this data gets publicly shown. But you'll see there on the timeline, those little peaks are interesting. Those are the parts that people actually replay in those videos, and that's public information. We can get great free resource for us to understand what's working and what's not in the space. And in Leon's videos, when you investigate what is happening during those times, I mean, you can even see it on the part that we're here at now, the most replayed part. What's on the screen? A super close-up of Leon. Great. I now know that if I'm creating more Leon videos, let's lean into that. Let's have more of that. Let's start the video being super close with Leon, right? We're using the data to now analyze what is working and what is not, and just doing more of what does and doing less of what doesn't. That's really the name of the game. You create and you learn and you keep going, right? This is lean learning in action. Lean learning,
When
my book.
someone said, with the super chat, quantity versus quality, or quality comes from quantity. And that's kind of the argument is
Yeah.
the more you make, the better you get. You work on 1%, better each time, then you end up, way better down the road. So you think through like, okay, in this video I'm going to film, just going to make the hook better, or this video I'm going to make the lighting better, or this video I'm going to have a better ending so that it doesn't have people drop off at the end where I
Yep.
just ramble, or this video I'm going to script and try, like, you just kind of experiment and you go through it. And like, you also don't have to publish a video if after you film it and edit it and you work on it, you're like, this is not good. You don't have to put it out there. No one's making you do it just because you have
Mhm.
sunk cost on it.
Yeah. Uh, in the beginning, quantity is more important. Don't sacrifice value, though. You still want to include value, but quantity trumps quality in the beginning because you are learning and the quality will come from that. So I love that. Thank you, Pokemani. And then Nerd Affiliated says, what do you do if YouTube pushes a video and it gains traction, but you don't want to cover that topic anymore? Hashtag bruh. This is, I would just consider that a bonus. Like, wow, I got views here. That's amazing. People are coming in. A certain percentage of them may or may not want to continue with me. But hey, this is a bonus that, is not going to be related to anything else. Don't delete it. Never delete a video. If anything, just unlist it. But I wouldn't even do that unless it is contradictory to the things that you're now promoting and now doing and now talking about. Then I would just leave it be and just consider it sort of bonus views on the top. And some of those people may come and join you on your journey with the rest of your videos. Cool.
You can definitely
Let's
see people that go down that rabbit hole though of like one thing works for them
Oh
and then
yeah.
they're like, this is the only thing I'm ever going to do ever. And then,
Right.
you end up getting sick of it or whatever. So
Right. Right.
you kind of have to
It
follow
is a
what you want to
good.
do.
It's a. I mean, it's a champagne problem, right? It's like cool. Like now I have to decide if I want to keep going with this, but it is a problem, and you have to think about it, and you have to assess whether or not. And you don't want to be swayed by, oh my gosh, I'm finally getting millions of views. Maybe I should become an underwater basket weaver, right? Maybe that's who I should be now from now on. But like, think about it a year from now. Are you going to be excited about creating these videos? And if not, then okay, cool. Just bonus views and move on. Cool. Great questions. This is a great principle to understand when it comes to success on YouTube. If you help YouTube succeed, YouTube will help you succeed. Now, what does helping YouTube succeed actually mean? Well, what does YouTube ultimately want? They want to make money. They're a business. They're publicly traded through, Alphabet, right? Through Google. And so if you're helping people stay on the platform, which allows more people to see those ads that then YouTube gets paid from, well, then guess what? YouTube's going to help you. And this sort of principles really help me understand how to win on YouTube. If I can get people to stick around, to first of all, click on these videos and then stick on these videos, then YouTube will go, oh my gosh, we need to send this video to more people because this is helping us keep people on the platform. So again, when you help support YouTube, YouTube will help support you in that way. And the way to do it is just create videos that keep people on the platform. So this is retention. This is getting attention. And what we like to call the click and stick strategy, right? The click and stick strategy. I see some great questions coming in. We'll save a lot of those for the end, but let's keep going here. The click and stick. So the click is the title and thumbnail. It's literally the only thing that people have to go off of to decide whether or not to invest time in watching your video or not. That's literally it. Your title and thumbnail. You could have the best video in the world, the most engaging actual content, but if the title and thumbnail aren't doing its job, then it's going to go nowhere, unfortunately. But that's just the game we're in, and that's how you. This is what we have to figure out. Your videos might as well not even exist if it's not getting clicked on, right? So here's the secret that we've used, and I've used this, and Dan and I on the Deep Pocket Monster team, we live by this. Start with the title first. Caleb, you know this. For years, we would film a video that we thought would be cool and interesting. It would be a great video, but then we'd fight tooth and nail to try to find a title that fit into it. And it was just a backwards way of doing it, even though that seems like the way
Yeah.
you should do it, right? We write the email and then write the subject line. We write the blog post and then create the title. That's how we've been conditioned. But actually, the opposite, because of how important attention grabbing is, we need to do it the opposite way. And the title can actually inform how you create the video and what the hook is going to be in the beginning and all this stuff. Starting with the title and getting one that kind of fits in and is curiosity driven and gets people to click is going to be your best bet to getting over that first hump. Starting with the title so you can get that click, right?
Yeah, and it seems backwards because you don't have to put in the title until after you've uploaded your video. You don't have to upload the thumbnail until the very end, but it's when you're almost at that finish line, you don't wanna have to go make the thumbnail now, go figure out what the title's going to be. You want to have figured that out
Yeah.
beforehand because like you said, it drives what should be in the video because the very next thing after title and thumbnail is the beginning of the video. So, you need to have some sort of promise answered in that beginning. You kinda have to convince people multiple times to watch your video, to convince them at the title and thumbnail stage, you have to convince them as they start watching and continue to keep them there throughout the video.
Yeah.
It's not just like a single, choice.
Thank you for the sticker, Stephanie. Pokemani says, so clickbait and deliver. If you're delivering, it's no longer clickbait. It's legit bait, as Vertasium says. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of us have this negative look at quote unquote clickbait because we've been duped before. We've clicked on videos that don't deliver and that doesn't feel good. And we don't want to be the creator who does that. But you also know that when people watch your video, you're going to serve them. So you have to play this game a little bit. And of course, there is a spectrum, and many of you can be on different levels of that spectrum. Like, how YouTuber face do you want to be? Like, it can get, there's a diminishing point of return with how wide your mouth is on those on those thumbnails sometimes. But the truth is you have to get attention, right? So let's go and look at some examples. So here is this array of videos from Brady Brandwood, the Leon the Lobster creator. And look at them. I mean, like, my eye goes in various places. There's different fonts and, the titles and thumbnails. Okay, cool, maybe. But I mean, look at this one. It is even doing some things wrong. It has literally the same title inside of the thumbnail that is the title of the video. That's actually kind of a waste of space, but nonetheless, it's still working. Why? Because the title is so intriguing. Keeping a grocery store lobster as a pet. It tells you everything you need to know and makes you want to learn more, right? So you click on that. The other thing is, look at that rubber band on that claw. That is absolutely key because that alone tells the whole story. This is in fact a grocery store lobster that I now have because that's what you see. And it's nice. It's like a lighter color on the darker lobster, and it just is positioned in a spot where you can't miss that. It tells a story and it makes you want to click, right? We need to know what happens. So let's actually play a little game. So we're going to go through, this is, again, for an entrepreneurial audience. I'm going to give you 4 titles for a video, and I want you to tell me which one may be the best. And of course, this is a little bit subjective because we haven't tested the other ones, but the one that I chose does work because it's gotten a lot of views. So we'll go with that as the answer. But for, again, an entrepreneurial audience, which of these letters, put it in the chat if you're willing to play, seems to be best? This question helps me live a better life. The one question you need to ask yourself to succeed. How Tim Ferriss changed my life with literally one question. Or life-changing advice that I used to find success. Now, these are all pretty decent titles, right? This question, what is that question? I need to know what it is. This one question, okay. How Tim Ferriss changed my life with literally one question. Life-changing advice that I used to find success. Well, D is probably the worst one. Life-changing advice that I used to find success. If you don't know who I am, why would you consider even paying attention to me? And who am I to tell you your life advice? Versus Tim Ferriss, a very recognizable name in the world of entrepreneurship, an interaction that changed my life. And this was the title that we chose. And in 10 months, this video had over 100,000 views. Just to give you an idea, on average, my videos have about 10% of this, 10,000 views within about, a few weeks. So this is done really well. And this thumbnail, again, if Tim Ferriss is the subject, to bring people in, to capture attention, then I'm going to put his face on the thumbnail. And then I'm going to have a reactive face with a little word that kind of tells a little bit of the story. He was right. He was right about this one question. I need to know what it is. I'm going to click. Right? This might not be the perfect title thumbnail combo, but it absolutely worked. And I'm just giving you principles about why. So let's try another one for the Pokemon collectors in the house. And if you were a Pokemon collector, you can think about this in that perspective. A, 5 tips for storing your Pokemon cards. B, the correct way to store Pokemon cards in a binder. Or C, this is how I store my Pokemon cards in a binder to last longer. I'll give you a couple minutes. Tell me which one you prefer, A, B, or C. And a few things here. A feels very generic. 5 tips for storing your Pokemon cards. Cool, but what about them? Are these good tips? Are these bad tips? Like, how is this actually going to help me? If I am looking for tips, okay, cool, maybe. But if I'm not looking for tips, this thing does not matter to me at all. C, this is how I store my Pokemon cards. A little bit better. It's like, okay, do you do it differently? Hopefully the thumbnail shows that. But like, again, not necessarily a problem I'm thinking to solve right now. And like, if I don't know who you are, like, who cares how you stored your Pokemon cards? B, the correct way to store Pokemon cards in a binder. If you weren't even looking for information about storing Pokemon cards, this still may intrigue you because it makes you go, wait, there's a wrong way to do it? And we leaned into that in the thumbnail. You're storing it wrong. Now, whether you are looking for this information or not, you're going to want to click it. Wait, I'm doing it wrong? I want to be right. That's what we were playing off of here. We used this same structure in another follow-up video to store cards not in a binder, but elsewhere. So C-san says exactly right. B, the correct way makes me feel like you're telling me how. I don't like to be told to do something. Haha. So in many cases, as we were talking about, your title can change how you make the video. So this was an original idea. This is how you start. You start with a seed idea first. You're not going to nail the title right away. I love this. People are getting insider looks at how we do this. So the original idea for this video was how to package and ship your cards without damage. And the reason why I wanted to share this was because I had been given a package that was completely damaged. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to create a video and teach people how to do it right. How to package and ship your cards without damage. But when you think about that, it's like, again, if you're not exactly sure if you need this information or not, like if you don't, then you're not going to watch this. How can we make this video appealing to more people, not just those who want to know how to package, but even those who aren't interested in that right now? Well, we massaged the title to this. Which shipping service damages my Pokemon cards the most? I still teach how to package and ship your cards without damage in this, but now there's a story. Look at the thumbnail, how it supports the title. There's a box. Which company did that to you? That was fun because I just literally, I exaggerated the box. I got the box that was damaged, took the stuff out, and I kicked it in even more just so it was actually viewable in the thumbnail. Again, to get people's attention. Is that wrong? I don't think so, because this video has over 500,000 views now and has taught people the right way to do things. And it even came up with, this happens all the time. Like, oh, this is a fun way to do it. Let's expand on that. So in this video, we added and put air tags into each of these videos so we could even see which package got to where we wanted it to go first. And so again, that idea wouldn't have come out at all, that very engaging idea, which was actually inspired by another person who sent a package to North Korea, right? So I'm getting inspiration from other channels and other niches to do stuff in my own niche. This is how you can learn and pull things. So hopefully, chat, let me know if you're getting inspired by this. Hopefully it's giving you some information that maybe you hadn't thought of before. Let me know in the chat with your favorite emoji if this is good information for you. I just want to make sure. Anything you want to interject with regard to title and thumbnail, Caleb, while we're here?
Yeah, I was gonna say the most important part there was, yeah, you could have named it how to do XYZ. Like, that's going to be there for when people search for that specifically. That video would probably perform well in search because when someone looks, okay, how do I ship Pokemon cards? Your video is going to show up. But the way you positioned it, the way you turned it there, which was, how do I make this interesting to someone that is not trying to currently ship Pokemon cards? It just makes it a bigger audience. It's a bigger pond of people that you're trying to bring in with that legit bait that you said earlier. There's more people to catch when you're making it a little bit bigger. And I
Right.
see, like, YouTube professionals or experts, this is kind of their approach with how do you get your channel to take off is you take your specific thing that is your niche and then make it interesting to as many people as possible and make videos that way to try to be known for that thing.
100%.
So that little spin on it, as opposed to like, okay, I'm going to make 50 videos all about the 50 most frequently asked questions so that I'm going to show up in search. And that's a very old school way, like a blogging, old school, early YouTube way to
Right.
think of
And there
things.
is a time and place for that kind of content. And in your own channel, you might have videos that are literally just that. And you have to be okay with that, knowing that it's probably not going to appeal to a ton of people. And it's going to be found mostly in search, which is going to be less than if you were to be found in browse or suggested traffic, which is where the mass audiences can come from. But we're just trying to expand your mind a little bit about, well, can you reframe some of these videos that you're doing to be even more interesting to more people? This is where you get rocket ship like acceleration in your channel and where that can happen.
We answer
So,
one question here because it is related to what you shared.
okay,
Jessica asks, "Do you need permission to put brands or people's faces like Tim Ferriss in your thumbnails?" And I would say for that video specifically, you had Tim Ferriss on your podcast and had a conversation with him, so that it wasn't just like you read his book and now you're trying to use his face and brand to like get people. Like you had a direct connection with him, interviewing him on your podcast, and that's what you talked about in the video. So it was related more than just like I'm gonna use clout from other people to kind of
sure.
grow my
I mean,
audience.
there's a line, right? If you have a celebrity's face on your thumbnail and you like just talk about them for 1 second, but the whole rest of the video is about something else, and you're just kind of literally using their face as sort of bait, that's not okay. And even then, you probably wouldn't quote unquote get in trouble. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a professional. This is just my opinion. However, you want the title and thumbnail to pay off in the video, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with using a face or a logo if you are in fact talking about those things. There's fair use and other things like that. You could consult with a lawyer just to be more specific about that. But we see it all the time, and you could get copyright struck in or something like that. In which case, you can deal with it then, or just change the thumbnail. But that is a good question because there's a lot of things like that to think about. Using clips from other people, again, if you can add your opinion on top of that. You're not just taking it and playing it as if you're like without any adjustments or addition of opinion. Then that's not okay either. And it depends on how long. I mean, we have a podcast episode about fair use that can help with that. But excuse me. And in the next thumbnail, you had FedEx on it. Yeah, that's not. I talked about FedEx, and there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If I, as a creator, am expressing my opinion about these different things and doing some sharing information that may be helpful for other people with that. So great question. Let's go further into the thumbnail and title situation really quick to cap this off. Here is the order of operations. Take a seed idea, brainstorm 5 clickable titles for it. Just like literally come up with random stuff. It might be garbage, and that's okay because through some of that garbage, you're going to find a banana peel that you can put into the Mr. Coffee flux capacitor, and then you can go back in time and do all those fun things with it, right? Garbage can be useful, but pick the most intriguing one. Test, you can ask others, and one thing I love to do with thumbnails is or titles is give the title to somebody and I say, what do you think this video is about, and just let them talk. And sometimes you get the most interesting concepts. You can get more information, but you can also go, okay, this person's thinking about something completely different than what I'm actually creating. I might need to go a different direction, right? So share some of those things ahead of time and get some. If you had a pod of people in your space, this might be one of the most useful things that we haven't really dove into before. Find a small group of people in the space that you're in who you trust, who you want to share ideas with. They don't necessarily have to be in the same space. Maybe they're all on YouTube. And just share these titles and say, what do you think about this? And then knowing that they're going to share something with you later and you're going to give them your opinion. These little pods do a really, really good job of holding you accountable, keeping you all informed, helping each other in that kind of way. We promote this inside of SPI community. We have masterminds in our Accelerate and Thrive tiers to help you with those kinds of things. We matchmake you with those kinds of things. It's really fun. And if you can't get a good title, honestly, maybe it's not worth shooting that video. I mean, that's a bold thing to say, but yeah, maybe it's not worth shooting that video if you can't come up with a good title. The thumbnail, just a few quick rules here. The less smaller, like little detailed things, the better. You don't and shouldn't tell the whole story. I know a lot of people who, when they come up with thumbnails, they're like basically revealing the whole story in the thumbnail, and it's just all these little images that like only they would know, and it just is confusing, right? I mean, look at this thumbnail here. You're storing it wrong. It's a blown up image of one of the most popular cards in modern history that people see with a binder behind it for context, and it just says you're storing it wrong. That's it. So the rule of 3, just have like 3 things: something in the background that brings context, your main subject, and then maybe, if necessary, some word or two that enhances and kind of supports and works with the title. Faces and eyes do a really good job of helping people stop, especially on mobile devices. They scroll, they recognize a face or see a face in some action, in some emotion, and want to learn more about what's happening. It doesn't have to be a frame for the video. In fact, I would use something like Canva or a separate designer to do that. And use the text in the thumbnail to support the title. Don't reuse the same text. But again, you saw a version that literally was the same one and it worked well because the title was really, really strong. So now let's talk about the stick, right? We got people to click on our video from the title and thumbnail. Now we want to get people to stick around. This is the hook. This is the retention. How do we get people to hold through? YouTube will not push your video to more viewers if you are, sure, you might get clicks, but if people leave right away, again, you're not helping them out. We want them to continue to move forward and watch your videos. So the retention graph is your friend, my friends. The retention graph is what you need. This is going to be the best, number one, most useful piece of analytics that YouTube will give to you. Yes, they give you impressions, click-through rates, all that kind of stuff. But the retention graph is key. Because here, in the beginning, you can see, okay, people stuck around in the beginning of this video, but at the end, they dropped off and I kept talking for 2 more minutes. What happened? In fact, in the beginning, it also dipped and then it came back up. People skipped over that. Well, what happened? Well, you can actually go into the videos and see. And I found that in this particular video, when I showed up on camera and started talking, people skipped ahead or left. Oh, they aren't here to see me? No, they're here to see all the cards in between, the things coming out of this mystery box. Okay, cool. So in future videos, I'm going to have less of me, and I'm going to have more of these things that people are seeing. Cool. There was a particular mystery box video I did on the Pokemon channel where there was a huge flat line. Flat lines is good because that means nobody's leaving. They've stuck around. Go into your retention graph and see where are people staying. And I found that this sort of 4-minute chunk here was when we were showing off binders. We'd never had a binder on the channel before this, but this was interesting. People wanted to see how other people collected their cards in their binders. So we went, okay, what if we create videos just about binders? And when I buy people's collections, let me just make sure there's a binder because that seems to get more views. And look at this, 3 million views, 3 million views, 2.5 million views. Then in this video, I mean, this was a binder. He sold me his entire collection. It was all binders. You could see this video. One video had made $17,000, which is crazy. You also need to leave some room for experimentation, trying new things that are either exciting to you in the moment or your audience is asking for. So here was an original seed idea. Creative things you can do with extra energy cards. Energy cards inside of Pokemon packs are free, and they come in every pack. And most people just throw them away or just leave them be. But we created a video where I did the same things. I was creative with these cards, but I turned it into a trick shot challenge. Very much inspired by other channels like Dude Perfect, and I was up against my son, and he and I were battling together and all these kind of things. And look at the retention graph of this video. I mean, it was basically flat the whole time, which told us something. People loved the sort of storytelling challenge aspect of this. Okay, cool. What if we did a binder and a challenge in one video? So I created a video where I completed a set called Brilliant Stars in one day. I said, I'm going to give myself 24 hours to finish this set, and whatever happens, happens. Boom. 11 million views in 1 year. Look at this retention graph. It is absolutely flat after the start. You're never going to get 100% retention, but look at how flat those lines are. And I'm just going to reveal this for you. This one Brilliant Stars video, 60K in revenue because I told a story. Isn't that insane? And it
Yeah,
wasn't,
that's how you merged 2 things that were working.
exactly.
You found one thing that worked and another thing that worked. Okay, what if we combined, transformer this thing?
Yeah.
Transformers don't combine. What's the
Converge.
what are the robots that get together?
It
I'm totally
Transformers.
blanking now.
Transformers.
No, they're individual. No, it's
Ultron.
Ultron. There it is.
Gundam.
We got it. Yep.
Anyway, so I just share that with you to show you that this didn't happen at the start. I wasn't like, I'm going to create challenge videos from the beginning. This is what we discovered because we played the quantity game. Let's create a bunch of videos, see what sticks with me, see what sticks with the audience, look at the retention graphs, and get people to stick around. And this is where we ended up, and you're going to end up somewhere else in your position for you and who you are and your personality and your niche. So that's just, again, some of the stuff that we teach inside of this course. We get a little bit deeper inside of our accelerator, which is starting this Thursday. Hope you can join us on that. But let's really quick talk about monetization. Monetization, yes, you can get ads put on your channel AdSense is a great way to generate revenue. On the Pat Flynn channel, it's generated about $300,000 lifetime. Not as many views as the Pocket Monster channel, but because it's in a education niche for business, the revenue per thousand is much higher. But there's other ways to generate revenue as well. You could do brand sponsorships, right? So this one here, I was sponsored by a company called TCG Stadium, which for all my Pokemon friends is coming back, I think, by the way. And they paid me a certain amount of money to mention them inside of this video, which is really cool. On the Pat Flynn channel, I did the same thing, but in a different kind of way. This company, Descript, didn't pay me to do this video, but I was an affiliate for this product, which means I get paid when people use my affiliate link and they become a customer. And so I did 2 videos about Descript. One was about their voiceover feature, and another one was about how it auto-transcribes, and it was really neat. And both of these videos did very well, especially that one that I'm covering right there. It copied my voice. And you see my face there. Is this scary or useful? You see the title. It's really intriguing. And it got 1 million views. And as a result of that, these are the commissions across about 2 years. I had generated $40,000 in commission revenue. That's money in my pocket, all because I shared some features of a really interesting tool that was relevant to my podcasting audience. $40,000 in commissions from a tool that I was already using anyway, because I shared a video and it had all those components. Interesting title, thumbnail, held people through using all these strategies that we talk about. So, chat, I want to ask you in the chat here, what is the most useful thing you learned today? Cody says 500 subs sounds like a painful to reach goal. In fact, one video could do that for you. One video could help you get thousands. So our goal is to help you get to 1,000, which can unlock a new revenue stream for you. It can help unlock new loyal audiences. It can unlock a group of people who can help you understand what products you should create or who to coach. It can help you unlock companies and brands that you can partner with. There are so many things that can happen when you start to build authority on YouTube. And a lot of companies now are looking to see who are the authoritative voices here in this space that uses our product. You can become an affiliate for them. Like Caleb, you can get products early before, like, that's happened to you, right, Caleb? A lot of these companies that you've done videos for, they give you products before anybody else does, which works in twofold, right? Like, first of all, you get to use the product, but then you also get to create a video about it, which is obviously going to get views because people want to see this, right? Like, tell me a little bit about what that's been like to work with brands and companies in that way.
Yeah, I mean, at first you just kind of make videos about the things you have, the things you already own. Then if you can be quick about when things come out, make videos about them when they come out. I did this for like the Canon 80D, for example. Like I developed a relationship with B&H, met them at a conference, said I'm a YouTuber, and got to know the right person to get that camera early, make a video immediately so that when it's released, your review is ready. You're going to get more views because more people are searching for it right when it comes out. Then you end up working your way upstream where you're like, get to know the manufacturing companies. You get to know Canon or Sony or whoever, sign an NDA, get that thing beforehand and have your review the second that thing is announced. You kind of work your way upstream doing that. But, there's a mix of like getting the things for free or just get to borrow them for free because it's going to get views and help your channel overall. And then you get to the point where people are sending you stuff that you don't want, which is probably where you're at with Pokemon stuff, Pat, where you're like, I don't need more things sent to me at this point.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of great comments in the chat. Thank you, Eric, Cody, Jessica. Alejandra says, see you both on the accelerator on Thursday. That's great. I'm so happy to see that. We'll talk more about that in a second. In fact, let's talk about that right now as we close in here. We have one of our most popular courses as of late has been the course that Caleb and I put together called YouTube from Scratch. It was initially sold kind of on its own, and it's now been integrated inside of our SPI community. And if you are a community member like Alejandra and a few others who are here, well, you get free access to this and all of our other courses. Not free access, but with your monthly membership, you get access to all of our courses at all times. However, we will be running an accelerator very soon. The whole point of this course is to help you get to that 1,000 subscriber goal or 2x the size of your channel. However, like I said, you will have a unique opportunity right now to join us on our next accelerator, which kicks off this Thursday, February 27th, which means, well, what is an accelerator? Well, let me tell you. An SPI accelerator is a structured group course taking experience. So you're not on your own anymore like it used to be. But through this group experience, you have a start and a completion date. The kickoff is, again, this Thursday, and then your coursework actually starts the week after. There are clear instructions on which lessons to complete each week. So we break it up for you so that it's actually doable. And we've run, I don't know, over a dozen accelerators now since the inception. And what's nice is it's just like, okay, for a small period of time throughout the year, you're on it. And we make sure you're on it. We hold you accountable as well. There's expert guidance from our team as well as the other community members to hold you accountable from start to finish. And our research and numbers show that you are 3 times more likely to succeed through our courses going through it with other people through an accelerator versus doing it on your own. And our next accelerator kicks off on Thursday, the 27th. You'll see a lot of people talk about these accelerators. Some have already spoken about it in the chat here, which is really cool. People getting results that they haven't gotten before. Now, the interesting, quick 10-second history about our courses is they all used to be sold separately for hundreds of dollars, in fact. And they're now all combined and put into the SPI community. You can see a lot of them there about affiliate marketing, email marketing, creating online courses, podcasting, selecting your niche, webinars, and of course, YouTube from scratch. And together, all of these courses, when they were sold individually, added up to about $4,000. And that was without the community and without any accelerators or help from the team. You were on your own. But when you join the SPI community, you get all the online courses and workshops, there's more than a dozen, access to live events, and an active community of other like-minded entrepreneurs like you. You get access to our office hours with me 2 times a month. You get access to me, and I help you out. Literally, you can ask me direct questions, and I got you. Guided pathways through our various courses so you don't get overwhelmed, right? This isn't just like, hey, go through all of our courses. It's, hey, what do you need next? Let us help you and point you in the right direction. And then, of course, our accelerators for $99 a month. So a huge, huge savings and just enough to hold you accountable and get you going. And if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/YT, again, smartpassiveincome.com/YT, you'll be able to get in before our accelerator starts this Thursday. And I mean, the chat's already helping support us by sharing how great it is and how wonderful the SPI community is. But I just want to, again, thank you all for being here. And I hope that you'll join us at smartpassiveincome.com/YT. And, again, this was just scratching the surface on a little bit of the kinds of things we teach and how, and just, again, making you understand just the things you need to know to get to where you want to go. We don't want to overwhelm you. There are a million different analytics that you can look at on YouTube to improve. No, retention graph. And of course, click-through rate and impressions, which we talk about in the course as well. But the retention graph is everything. And so things like that, that's the way we teach. We want to reduce the overwhelm, reduce the confusion, get you together with other people, and guide you along the way. So if you go to that link, again, smartpassiveincome.com/YT, we got your back. Thank you so much. Love you, Pat. You are amazing. Thank you, My Life in Flow. Hannah says story and journey for what she learned. A lot of people talking about the retention graph. A lot of people talking about the fact that this is not impossible. I think that's a big thing, and maybe where we could finish off, Caleb. A lot of people see YouTube as a very tech-heavy, very intimidating platform, and it is when you start. But going together with other people and then just getting started is going to be your best bet for learning and understanding how this works. And I promise you, there is space for you on the platform to find your little home and start to create content to build an audience that you can then do lots of things with. You can host live events like I do on the Pokemon channel. We have Card Party coming up twice this year. 5,000 people coming to each of those events this year, all because of a YouTube channel that was started. New revenue coming in, new email lists being built, new products being served, new affiliate offers. Tell everybody listening and watching right now why they need to do this.
I think you can't afford not to. I can't imagine a successful business being started now that doesn't have some sort of video presence online, and YouTube is the best place to have that. You can see just, people in the chat here getting to hear you live, interacting, answering their questions. This is the type of thing you can do when you build out a YouTube channel. You can have an audience of people that are interested in your thing. And it makes it, there's a super chat here from Eva. She talks about, is like my specific dog breed of multi-poo too narrow? Like, is that too small of a niche? And it's like, no, because of all the people that have multi-poos or are interested in them, like, you're going to be the go-to resource for that. Making a channel about dogs in general is going to be so much more generic, and you have so much more competition. If you are one of the few multi-poo, like, I don't even know what that brand is, but like, I'm sure
A
it's a
Maltese and a
small
poodle.
dog. Just okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And
there you go. I mean, I have a hybrid. I
it's
have a hybrid dog too, a
yeah, yeah.
Frankenstein. So
Allergy free, like all these other things. I imagine that there would be, yes, a lot of people who would want to know about multi-poos before they, potentially buy one or rescue one. But in addition to that, there could be, like we talked about, some videos done related to your multi-poo that might not be about owning and raising a multi-poo, but like about your multi-poo and the personality that it has and the kind of fun things that you do with it and the kinds of tricks that you could teach it that would be relevant to anybody because it's an animal and we love animals as just as human beings. So again, brainstorm those ideas and come up with different strategies. Another thing we didn't really dive into too much was looking at other channels. So one thing that I love to teach is this idea of an outlier video. So if you go onto any channel, it'll have sort of a baseline number of views that you kind of normally would see for a video from that person, right? Like if you go to whoever's channel and it's like, okay, average 20K views on this channel, but then there's that one video that has like 1 million views. And you're like, whoa, like that is called an outlier video. And that one outlier video, did something. Go in there, investigate it. You can do this with other channels. Go into a car Formula F1 channel. You'll see a baseline and then find the outlier video and go, what happened there? Oh, the thumbnail is just so much more intriguing. It's so different than the other ones. Oh, okay, cool. Noted. I'm going to incorporate that into my video about multi-poos. Even though it's about F1, you're learning something from these other channels on those outliers. And that's kind of how you hack your way into more success, is you find out what is already successful for somebody else and you bring it into yours. For example, I did a video. There was an engineer who created a machine to slap a chicken to see if it could cook it by just slapping it fast enough. It was such a fun video. And so I based a video in the Pokemon space about shaking a graded card to see if it would damage the card. But I followed the exact same structure because there was a lot of conversation online about this and nobody knew if it was true or not. And then I solved that problem and I built a machine out of Lego to do that, right? And just literally, it was already laid out for me. I just brought it into my own space. So utilize and take advantage and get inspiration from other channels and give credit to where credit is due. I always credit that person for inspiring that video, even though he's an engineer and has nothing to do with Pokemon. Anyway, super fun. Can we access the slide you use? There will be a recording of this video that will be here immediately after I hit stop, which I'm going to do in literally a minute. The time was an hour late. Looking forward to card party. I'll see you there, Pidgey boys. How long is this class? We're basically done. I'm just looking for other questions. Any monetization tips for a non-musician who makes shorts about songs and music news? So monetizing other people's copyrighted things can be very difficult, right? If you're putting music in your own channel, then you're likely going to be demonetized for that. Doesn't mean you won't get views, and I would try to get more views if you're using news and other clips from other musicians. On YouTube specifically, those musicians will likely just get the payout for that versus you, which makes sense. However, there are ways that you can monetize outside of that. For example, Patreon. If you create the gosh darn best news about certain genres of music and people want to know these things ahead of time, maybe you have a Patreon set up where fans can pay you to get first access to that news before anybody else, before it's, maybe you get breaking news and they get the breaking news first before hours later then it gets put on YouTube. Like things like that. What would be of value to your audience that you're building, this loyal audience? And you can use a tool like Patreon to have almost a PBS-like model, right? Paid for by viewers like you sort of thing. Reading my Supervans book. I appreciate that. I always gain value hearing things in the stream. Time to refocus on the thumbnail and title I produce. Nice, Kobe. Love it. Let's see. How to get started was most useful. Scott, I'll end with this one. You created a second channel for Deep Pocket Monster Shorts. Do you still recommend keeping shorts on a separate channel? Not necessarily. In fact, the reason why I did it on a separate channel was because I wanted to experiment and see if I could create a shorts-only channel that would grow independent of anything else that I'm doing. So I'd never linked to it from Deep Pocket Monster. I just had the algorithm figured out. And yes, obviously you can. And I wanted to do that also because the viewers who are watching Deep Pocket Monster are, in fact, mostly different than those who are watching the Shorts channel. Even though it's all Pokemon, it's a different kind of person swiping through looking at a 60-second opening versus these 48 1-hour, 2-hour videos that I'm creating on the Deep Pocket Monster channel. So I separated them. In general, the rule is same audience, same channel. Different audience, different channel. Chinese Cabbage Farmer, not a question, but seeing your confidence in your thumbs on your Pokemon shorts helped me over my self-conscious about my own. Hey, you're welcome.
Hey,
Funny
I have them
story.
too.
Oh, yeah, Caleb has... Dude, yes. Caleb has
Nintendo
Diglett thumbs also.
mushroom thumbs, Diglett thumbs. Yeah,
Diglett
however you
thumbs,
call them.
yes. this is a great lesson to finish off here. Embrace your weird. What makes you unique and different, what maybe other people made fun of you for, is a thing that you could become known for. And it's all a matter of like how you change that in your mind. And now I have Diglett thumbs, and somebody said they would pay me to get Diglett tattooed on my thumbs, which was a very kind offer. I don't think I'm going to do and go forward with that. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. The replay will be available here right away. And again, smartpassiveincome.com/YT. Get in the accelerator. I look forward to seeing you in the SPI community, and looking forward to seeing you get to 1,000 subs or more, and being a part of your story. So thank you, Caleb, for being here, and thank you, everybody who's watching.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Cheers.